Many people have their own thoughts on the Second Amendment. It is a right to bear arms. It comes down to what was decided a long time ago.
Justices have been very clear going back to the first major Supreme Court case in Marbury versus Madison that the Constitution says what the judges of the courts say it says.
Channel 5's Carolina Cruz took a closer look at the Second Amendment and what it means and why.
We wanted to know what exactly the Second Amendment says. It's the one that lets us keep and bear arms. A court decision made almost 10 years ago redefined what that amendment means today.
27 words make up the Second Amendment. It's a lengthy sentence broken in two by a comma.
A well-regulated militia.
Being necessary to the security of a free state.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms.
Shall not be infringed.
You have those two separate clauses set up different explanations for the reason the right exists.
Assistant Professor of Political Science James Wenzel explains those two parts. First, the militia component. It's understood during the pre-revolution era there was a preference for a militia or citizen soldiers versus an army. This part gives militia rights to protect the security of the nation. The second part gets complex. Over the years, two different interpretations come out of this.
Is it what's called a collective right, or is the right that it confers an individual?
It was settled in a 2008 Supreme Court case known as District of Columbia versus Heller.
They essentially defined that first phrase away. They focused on the second clause, which is the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And so essentially by ignoring that first clause, they create an individual right. The prefatory clause sounds like it creates a collective right, and it's somehow tied back to a militia. But that's not how the court saw it.
According to the text interpretation of the law, the Second Amendment gives individuals the right to possess firearms for personal use. The Supreme Court justices decided that right in a slim 5-4 vote.
The interpretation of the Second Amendment by the Supreme Court also puts limitations to states on regulating an individual's right to, quote, keep and bear arms. Whenever there's a mass shooting, the Second Amendment is challenged by politics and held up to scrutiny. Nevertheless, it stands. Reporting live in the studio, Carolina Cruz, Channel 5 News at 6.